If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so honored to have our special guest, Kory Lundberg, who's the Senior Manager and Head of Sustainability Communications at Walmart. Welcome, Kory, to Green is Good.
Thanks, John. It's great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, this is truly a momentous day for Mike and I, and I'm going to just share with our listeners one more time, because of Walmart and all the great things you do and the invitation that Jenny Dinger extended to me in 2007 to come down to Bentonville and be part of a think tank where we got to speak to an audience of your vendors on how to green or how to better green the United States and the world. I thought up Green is Good as part of my remarks that day down in 2007, then trademarked it while I was going to the airport in Bentonville. And literally, it's because of your great company, Kory, that we're here today and we're able to use Green is Good as a platform to help share with the people across the United States and even the world who listen to it on iTunes, how to really be part of the solution. So thank you.
Oh, you bet, and that's a really neat story. And boy, how little did we know back in 2007 just how right you were about green being good.
It is good.
And the thing that's so interesting is, that's kind of a great example of kind of how we've gotten to where we are is bringing in people, experts like yourself, to come in and talk to us. We've been retailers. We've been retailers since 1962 when we started, and so the whole sustainability area, we had some ideas, but we didn't have all the ideas, and so it was bringing in new ideas, and the experts like yourselves to give us guidance and give us help is really how we've been able to be so successful at this.
Well, Kory, I just want to start at the basics. I know you have, three main sustainability goals, even though there's so many things we could talk about, and we're going to get to a lot of them today. Why don't you share with our listeners the three main sustainability goals at Walmart?
You bet. When our sustainability program was outlined in 2005 by our then CEO, Lee Scott, it really came down to three goals. It was, number one, to be supplied by 100% renewable energy, number two, to create zero waste, and three was to sell products that sustain people and resources. Really it comes down to that's where our footprint is, and that's where we're able to make a big difference.
And when I've heard Lee's remarks back then, and I want to hear how you've evolved that from 2005 to 2010. And what Lee Scott said, those goals of sustainability, I remember his remarks. They're not even low-hanging fruit. That's fruit on the floor. And he's the first person I ever heard say fruit on the floor, and I've probably used it a million times since then. But to me, that really stuck with me. Tell us how you've evolved that vision in 2005 to today and what you're doing today, Kory.
And I'll tell you, John, there's still a lot of low-hanging fruit out there. As new technologies emerge and develop, it creates low-hanging fruit all the time. But really, when we started, the goal and the focus was, let's make sure that we have our operations. Let's make sure we have our own house in order. And so the focus really, when you talk about Walmart, is our buildings and our fleet. And so, we outlined some goals to make our buildings more energy efficient and produce fewer greenhouse gases, which was kind of a stretch goal because our buildings in the U.S. were already very efficient because, as you know, Walmart is about, lowering costs and operating more efficiently. So we've always looked for ways to lower our energy.
Right.
But what we did discover as we went through this process, we were able to increase the efficiency of our buildings, not just here in the U.S., but we met this goal in all of our global markets. And so you imagine when you have 8,400 locations across 15 countries, the size and scale is really able to make an impact. And so now you can share those learnings. What we have in the U.S., we can share those with our team in China or our team down in Costa Rica. And so it really, that's one of the big things that we realized early on is that Walmart's scale and our size is something that really provides a benefit in trying to move the needle in the area of sustainability.
That's such a great point. Mike and I have been so lucky to have guests that have created revolutionary or even evolved just legacy products that are now greener or more organic. And one of their comments to us, the common thread that they say is that besides being on Oprah Winfrey's show, which of course moves the needle, when Walmart decides to make a purchase and they get to stock your shelves and you decide to carry them, that pushes the green revolution faster, further than any one other movement. So, we know that your size and scale is amazing, and our listeners should really understand that you get to be a leader on so many levels, Kory.
Well, and I think probably our best example of that is with concentrated liquid laundry detergent. We announced in 2007 that's all we were going to sell in our stores is the concentrated form, and by mid-2008 we had reached that goal. But what we have found is, manufacturers aren't going to make the 33-ounce bottle and the 100-ounce bottle. They're all going to go to the concentrated 33-ounce bottle. And so now you'll see that on all of Walmart shelves, but anywhere you go to buy liquid laundry detergent, it's going to be the concentrated version. So that's really had a ripple effect across the entire retail industry. And that's something we're really proud of. And, you talk about, obviously, the savings in water and plastic in terms of the packaging and cardboard. But think about the savings you get from a smaller packaging on your transportation. So now you're able to put the same number of bottles of laundry detergent in fewer trucks. You're able to get more of that laundry detergent on your shelves. So now when the customers come in, they're going to be in stock and get what they're looking for. And then it's more convenient for them to take home the 33-ounce bottle, and at the end of the day, when they're done with that, they're creating less waste in their home as well. So it's really looking at products not just in terms of packaging or resources, but really over the entire life cycle of where can you make improvements and where can you make benefits that are going to be good for our customers, our communities, and of course, our company.
Kory, you could not have put that any more succinctly. That was the entire process. And if you want to know about efficiency and the ripple effect thereof, you just heard it from Kory Lundberg.
Yeah, I mean, the domino effect is just amazing, and that's what we're so excited to talk with you about. Talk about that because I remember when I was sitting in your amazing auditorium down there, and and there were many other suppliers there, and I was listening to the goals that you were outlaying for the suppliers. How do you engage with your suppliers to then keep continuing and pushing the green movement forward more and more? Explain that process.
Sure. It really comes down to explaining to them what we've learned as we've gone through this process. And when you talk about making things in a smaller package, or you talk about, a manufacturing process that reduces your greenhouse gas emissions, really what that means to our suppliers is it reduces their costs. The main thing that causes greenhouse gases is energy. So you reduce energy, you reduce your energy bill. You use less cardboard in your packaging, you're reducing your costs there. So it's really helping suppliers understand that as they go through this process, it's really about making them more efficient. It's about enabling them to build and produce a better quality product at lower costs for them and for our customers. And so as they get involved and they kind of see what the benefits of that are, they are right on board, and they become some of the biggest advocates out there in terms of finding ways to do things better. How can we innovate even more to make our product even better? So it's just kind of that process of going through the education with suppliers and letting them know that this is really a great business decision. It's green is good, but it's also good for the business as well in terms of lowering costs and being able to pass those on to customers.
Well, Kory, that is so true. And John and I were talking about this off air. And before we got you on air today, shared a little bit, but we'll share with the audience. At one point in my career, I was working for a major record company. I did promotion, but part of it, after the promotion side of my job ended, I worked in the distribution end in customer service. And Walmart was one of the absolute biggest accounts that we had. Now, how does Walmart drive business? At that time, Walmart was really beginning, and this was this was back in the late 90s, and very exacting about how the packaging of our CDs, our DVDs, our entertainment software, and even our gaming platforms, Walmart insisted on minimal packaging. Well, it did reduce our shipping costs, number one. It also enabled us to ship more units per pallet. We had to reconfigure a few things, but the folks at our company figured out real quick that while we had to make some adjustments and there was some grumbling initially, it's like, wow, we are getting a lot more efficient in our own business. Just as you said, I can back that up 100%, and we were able to ship a lot more units to Walmart.
And Mike, that's such a great example, especially with the DVD suppliers that you're talking about, because we brought them in and asked them, what can we do? How can we make this packaging better. And you know, everybody knows what the case of a DVD looks like. It's pretty standard. Everybody knows, and it's really kind of hard to make any changes to it. But what the DVD supplier that you're talking about did is they were able to actually cut out some of the plastic inside of the case, and that reduction alone helped them eliminate 28,000 metric tons of greenhouse gas in 1 year. So again, it goes back to reducing greenhouse gas, reducing energy, being more efficient. And that's one of the things that we've realized in our own fleet as we become more efficient, as our suppliers are working with us to become more efficient. Our focus is really about how can we drive less miles. Initially we started, well, how can we be more fuel efficient? But then we realized, it makes a lot more sense to not drive that mile than it is to drive that mile more efficiently. And so just last year in 2009, the last numbers we have, our fleet, through all of the different things that they have done, was able to deliver 77 million more cases to our stores. I mean, we're opening more stores, we're growing, so there's more product to be delivered. But they did it by driving 100 million fewer miles. So it's just, imagine what the business benefit is right there. That saved the company, just in what the fleet did, nearly $200 million in 1 year. It's just thinking things differently than what you've always done, and using the green is good lens, or the lens of sustainability about all the different things that you're doing. Is there a way to do it differently? Is there a way to do it better? And when you look at those different things, invariably you find out there are better ways to do it, and it ends up with a benefit to you and your customers.
Well, and Kory, that's so well put. And for our listeners out there that are near a computer now, or are going to be near one soon, I want them to see your great website, walmartstores.com/sustainability, so they could see more about what you're doing. Let's talk about, sometimes we tackle simple issues on the show, sometimes more complex. The issue of energy, Kory, seems more and more complex every day, especially with some of the crazy things that we've seen, tragic things we've seen this year in the Gulf and other parts of the world. The issue of renewable energy continues to be a drumbeat you hear about, but is yet to be shaken out on how people are going to implement it. How is Walmart going to achieve their 100% renewable energy goal, and how has it been working so far?
Well, John, that's a great question about how we're going to achieve it. And right now, I'm not sure we know the answer to that question.
Okay.
But that doesn't stop us from, looking for ways to increase the amount of renewable energy that we bring in and use in our systems. We've got 30 solar sites that we have in California, Hawaii. We're testing a couple of probably our coolest things that we're doing. We've got a Sam's Club in California and a Walmart store in Worcester, Massachusetts, that has small wind turbines, or what we call micro wind turbines, and they're actually mounted on the light poles in our parking lots. So there's 17 of them in California. There's 12 of them on the store in Massachusetts. Those generate, probably less than 5% of the energy needs for those particular facilities.
Right.
But again, it's an incremental step. So maybe one day you have a store with solar and with the micro wind turbines and a fuel cell, and that's how you reach the 100%. But it's continuing to look for different ways that you can implement renewable energy into your energy mix. And it's not so much, and it's not always just, well, what is the next new idea for renewable energy out there? You've got solar, there's thin film solar, there's the micro wind turbine we talked about. We're also buying wind from a big wind farm in Texas. So within all of the different categories, there are other categories to look at. And, we're committed to working with these various vendors and companies to find out, is there a way that we can help you develop your technology? And again, with our scale and our ability to test and pilot different, techniques and different technologies, can we help bring this technology to market quicker by our use of implementing it? So I think that's how we're going to get there. It's going to be a long process. We still got a long way to go. I think we've just scratched the surface in what we're going to be able to do.
Got it.
But we're going to play a role in helping develop that and make it available to others.
One of the other great trends we're seeing here, Kory, in the United States is the issue of recycling. Right now, the average American throws out about 4.3 pounds of waste a day. 54% of it goes to a landfill, 13% of it gets incinerated, and about 33% of it gets recycled. When you listen to people at the EPA and other great big waste organizations who are far smarter than I am, they're their analysis is over the next 7 to 10 years, the trend is we're going to flip-flop those numbers where recycling is going to be at about 54% rate and incineration is going to stay the same and landfill is going to be at 33%. How is Walmart going to help in that whole recycling revolution? What's your goals with regards to recycling?
Well, our goal is to one day not send anything to a landfill.
Okay.
And the latest numbers we have for last year is, we sent 64% of the solid waste generated by our facilities somewhere other than a landfill.
Right.
Which is pretty impressive because there's a lot of stuff that comes out of the back of our stores. And what we did, it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we started thinking of what's coming out of the back of our stores not as waste, but as a commodity. So, what's the value? We really wanted to extract the value out of the waste stream.
Right.
We found that we've been able to do that. So we do a number of things. We have a robust recycling program with cardboard bales, and we have what we call as our super sandwich bale. And briefly what it is, imagine, you can picture the regular cardboard bales. Well, now imagine using that same baler, you put a thin layer of cardboard down on the bottom, then you throw in plastic bags, paperback books, paper, aluminum cans. We've got 32 different items that go in there, and then you put another thin layer of cardboard over the top, and you bundle that together. And so we're recycling millions of pounds of commodities a month through that. And some of that is actually going back to suppliers, being turned into raw materials, and ending up in products that go back on our shelves. So there's really a lot of opportunities out there. It's just, again, thinking about it differently.
Kory, well, that's really the new trend. I mean, what we call urban mining. I mean, really, that's urban. That's that
Absolutely.
New trend. Yeah, so I love it. So really, you're on the cutting edge of that trend, and you're pushing that trend.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've struggled with is, what do you do with your organic waste? As a large supermarket retailer as well, and we've been working with a number of vendors, and we're looking for solutions, and we think we've probably come up with a couple of things that are really going to work and really help push that 64% number even higher. Ultimately the goal is 100%. In the U.S., that's by 2025, and globally we haven't set a time for it. But again, think about the scale of Walmart: 8,400 stores around the globe. None of them sending anything to a landfill. There's a lot of commodities out there now available.
Right.
If you're using a recycled commodity instead of a virgin commodity when you're making your product, again, that's lowering your costs.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm wondering, too, and you're talking earlier, too, Kory, about the diversity of types of alternative energy, and you're talking about the organic waste. I'm sure that somebody in the company right now is thinking in terms of possible biomass for bringing some of the energy equation into line along with solar and wind, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be the ultimate win-win if we can find a way where we take the waste out of our stores and use it to create energy to power our stores. I don't know that technology is where it needs to be right now, but again, that's something that we would be willing to work to help develop and make it viable for not only us but for others as well, because that solves two really big problems right there. It solves sending stuff to the landfill.
That's right.
The greenhouse gases that are associated with trash that's decomposing, and then also, energy needs. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, and like I said, we've still got a lot of work to do in this area, but we're proud of what we've done so far.
And you're doing amazing work. And your point about urban mining is so important that our listeners understand that when you're getting back the commodities to the people, so they could use those commodities to make new products from, instead of making it out of virgin ore. We learned, Mike and I have had Alcoa on the show twice already, and the great people from Alcoa educated us to the fact that that's a 95% energy savings when you recycle aluminum, which is an infinite recyclable, as opposed, as you said, Kory, making it from virgin ore.
Absolutely, and boy, that number, 95%, that's just amazing. And you imagine you multiply that over, every can that your listeners use in the course of a day or a week. I mean, that really starts to add up in a hurry.
Kory, talk a little bit about, we're down to the last 4 minutes or so. Your tagline's amazing in terms of saving money and living better. And obviously, through sustainability, you've proven already on the show how you're saving the customers money and they're able to live better, not only because they have more money in their pocket, because you're actually creating a nicer environment and world to live in. Talk a little bit about other engagement efforts you're making in the stores with your customers right now so they feel the whole sustainability movement besides listen to it on this show.
You bet. And I think one of the things that we're proudest of in that area is late last fall we started a program, or I should say late fall 2008, we started a program where we started donating food to Feeding America, the Feeding America food banks.
Wow.
This was food that was 3 to 5 days before its sell-by date, which is probably another week or so before its expiration date. But in doing that, we were able to provide food to these food banks that they don't normally get. We're talking produce and protein, meat, and different things like that, and things out of the bakery. And in 2009, Walmart and Sam's Club in the U.S. donated 127 million pounds of food to Feeding America. And as most people know, the last year or so, it's been tough economically, and so food banks really had a big need. And that was, again, one way where Walmart was able to come through and help and show the customers what the value is of having a Walmart in your area, is that we're able to help the folks in your local area, especially when they need it most. So that's just another example of the different things that we're doing to help engage. We talk about sustainability in terms of sustainability 360. So it's engaging our own four walls, but it's also engaging our associates. We've got more than 2 million of them around the world. Our customers, we serve more than 200 million of them a week, and our communities, we're in 8,400 of them around the world. So when you take all of that into consideration, you really have a large potential to do good.
We're down to the last minute and a half, and that's a brilliant point, Kory, in that, you found an amazing way, Walmart has found an amazing way to balance the beauty and the importance of the localness of your brand, but also the international and the global strength of your brand. So that's amazing. But you want to share, we've had guests on and we always ask, hey, give us a little visibility on the future, because we know this whole movement is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. There's no one magic bullet. Give us, in the last minute or so, 1 or 2 pearls of wisdom on the visibility of where you're taking your sustainability mission in the coming years.
I think a couple of main points. Number one is we're going to continue to make progress and work towards our 3 overarching goals that we talked about.
Right.
And the second one is really engaging our suppliers and our supply chain to bring some transparency into the supply chain and some transparency into how products are made and what goes into making them, and making that information available to customers so that they can make better, more informed decisions when they're in our stores.
That is just so well put, and I just want to share again with our listeners. Go to Kory and Walmart's great site, walmartstores.com/sustainability. I want to say, Kory, again, from Mike and I's bottom of our heart, thank you for taking the time to come on, because Mike and I wouldn't even have this opportunity but for Walmart inspiring us to come up with Green is Good. The Green is Good wouldn't even be in existence. So I just want to say a big thank you to you and Jenny Dinger and all the great people at Walmart. Kory Lundberg and Walmart, you are truly living proof that green is good.